My name is Bill. This is Night Terrors. Welcome to Viewer Research, Monday Night Edition. Yeah, we're just waiting for people to populate and chat here. Let's see. We might have an indication down here, do we? That's something else. Click on here. Can we pick that up? Yeah. As our session started here, are we live? The first few seconds of the show, when you don't know if you're live or not. I'm a little bit under the weather tonight just because of, oh, there we go. There's Verpine. There's Shazbot Shiznit. Welcome, Verpine. And welcome, Shazbot. Welcome to Taco. Because I got like, in the past 24 hours, I probably got like 4 hours and 4.5 hours sleep. I did take a nap before the show as usual, but only got the half hour. We had a busy day today, doctor's appointment and so forth, and grocery shopping, and boy, did we get worn out. So when I start to nod here, I'm definitely going to take advantage of substances such as caffeine. Taco only got 1 hour sleep. Do tell, Taco, what's your situation down under? Good evening, Verpine. Good evening greetings to Shazbot. WJ says hello. And W says, wish me luck tomorrow. I heard Target is getting new G.I. Joe figures, and I want to get some. All right, a collector. He who dies with the most toys wins. Green tea has arrived. Verpine says the best part of shopping is leaving the store. Maccabeus says, Maccabeus Everyday Survival says good evening. Welcome, Maccabeus. WJ agrees about leaving the store. Taco stayed at Sill's place. Oh, so weird bed surroundings. Oh, and Phil without the CPAP. That's a shame. My spouse uses a CPAP. I don't know how she does it, but I don't know how she puts that thing on every night. I really don't. WJ says that really is the best part, Verpine. From WJ on YT. I have to have a firm bed, personally, where the back goes. We have a green mattress now, but it's like a firm green mattress. I think that's actually the, maybe part of the company name, Green, or something like that. I'm not sure. But it feels soft, but when you lie on it, it's actually firm. It's really weird. Verpine says, on Saturday you mentioned seeing a fossil with dinosaur skin. I found this article on it. Wow! It's science.org. I made him, thanks, we'll check that link out right now, Verpine. Thank you. Yeah, I saw the imprint of it. And I said that was a monthly publication, Science News. It's not, it's a weekly publication. Yeah, let's check out this link from Verpine. Let's see if this is the one I remember. The actual imprint of the skin of a dinosaur. Not quite. Good example, though, the pebbles. This one was a full flank of a dinosaur. It was just incredible. The full flank of a dinosaur. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see, T-Rex skin. Pictures of dinosaur skin. Pictures of dinosaur skin. Dinosaur skins pictures. Yeah, where are they? Let's get the images here. That is an interesting one, though. Ancient armor macro shot of crocodile skin. Yes, green tea, please. Maybe it's one of these. Fran Stein says hello. Welcome, Fran. It's good to be back. Thank you. Was it one of these? Yeah, that's a good one, Verpine. Where is it at? The only fossils of T-Rex skin. Suggest it was covered in scales, not feathers. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And do we see this bit? See this open? Taco, thank you for your contribution. Much appreciated, ma'am. Thank you so much. Ooh, what is the lost Dutchman's mine or gold? Asked by Green Tea. That'll be our first up. Thank you, Green Tea. I didn't mean to make light of your suggestion of Rapine. Of course, it might have been, in my mind, it might have been magnified many times beyond what it was, but I remember seeing the full flank of a dinosaur skin represented. Open image, a new tab. There we go. Was it one of these? That's interesting there. No, it was not one of these. Let's magnify it a little bit, though. Whoops. There's some right there. There's some there. Verpine reaches a watch streak. Verpine and Green Tea, topic unsolved. Murder and haunting of German Church Road. Thank you. Thank you, Verpine. I have the other one copied. Let's make sure I got the green teas here. Yes. And from Verpine, gonna grab that now. Congratulations, Verpine, on your watch streak. Pictures of dinosaur skin. Fossilized pictures? Fossilized dinosaur skin? Yeah, this is like the flank of a dinosaur. It's like a weird pattern, too. I've never seen it again. I could probably find it if I went back to, if I had if I went through some old Science News publications. Have I seen the new CPAP implant? Says WJ. No, I have not. That sounds really scary, WJ. Do you need surgery for that? Franstein is so glad that T-Rex did not have feathers, like a furious chicken. Thank you, Oh No, It's Taco. We have that. Charles Whitsley. I don't know how we're going to find it now. It's like, geez, now it's like decades and decades ago. Let's go to Google's. Let's go to Green Tea's suggestion. To it. The Lost Dutchman's Mine. That only going to be images? Yeah, let's go to all. Lost Dutchman gold mine with picture of a place. Lost Dutchman's gold mine from Arizona State Parks. And there's the picture of that thing. Green Tea asks, I wonder what the color of the T-Rex was. Was he plain like a black snake, or did he have a multicolored pattern? Due to a siphon fire, the park is currently closed until Sunday. Let's call to complain. A siphon fire. I wonder what that is. Taco believes with patterns. Yeah, you would think that, at least for camouflage purposes. Although how much camouflage T-Rex needed, who knows? Maybe when they're young. To protect themselves from their parents. To be from eaten by their parents. The Superstition Mountain. Its name inspired by Pima Indian legends. Have been a source of mystery and legend since early times. The area is dotted with ancient cliff dwellings and caves, many showing signs of former habitation. It is not certain who these people were. Some believe they were Salado or Hohokam Indians, who populated this part of Arizona several centuries ago. Later, Pimas and Apaches, some of whom may have been Yavapas, occupied parts of the region. However, the name Apache came to be closely associated with the Superstition Mountains, and they became an Apache stronghold in the 1800s. Taco shopping. Good for you, Taco. During the 1840s, the Peralta family of northern Mexico supposedly developed rich gold mines in the Superstitions. Their last expedition to carry gold back to Mexico occurred in 1848, according to legend. The large party was ambushed by Apaches. Welcome, JC, little brother. And all were killed except for one or two Peralta family members who escaped into Mexico. This area is known today as the Massacre Grounds. A number of other people were supposed to have known the mine's location or even to have worked it. Numerous maps have surfaced over the years, only to become lost or misplaced when interested parties pressed for facts. Men who claimed to have found the Peralta mine were unable to return to it, or some disaster occurred before they could file a claim, all adding to the lore of a lost mine. Then in the 1870s, Jacob Waltz, the Dutchman, actually a native of Germany, was said to have located the mine through the aid of a Peralta descendant. Waltz and his partner, Jacob Weiser, also sounds like a German name, worked the mine and allegedly hid one or more caches of gold in the Superstitions. More stories place the gold in the vicinity of Weaver's Needle, a well-known landmark. Jacob Weiser was killed by the Apaches, or according to some, by Jacob Waltz. In failing health, Jacob moved to Phoenix and died in 1891, some 20 years later. He supposedly described the mine's location to Julia Thomas, a neighbor who took care of him prior to his death. Neither she nor dozens of other seekers over the years were able to find the lost Dutchman's mine. Subsequent searches have sometimes met with foul play or even death, contributing to the superstition and legend that surrounds these mountains. Many versions of the Lost Dutchman mine story exist, and several books and films have been done on the subject. That's the basic story. Let's see what else we got. Gotcha Man says the siphon fire is a massive fire. Zerithian, welcome, sir. Welcome, XY. Gotcha Man says the siphon fire is a massive fire in Siphon Draw. Oh, so it's the name of an area. It's an area in the Superstition Mountains in Arizona. I guess that's a picture of those mountains. The origins of the Lost Dutchman mine. The story of Superstition Mountain, that's a book. The location, oh, TreasureNet, of course. TreasureNet.com. Its location. Those who found the mine could only work in the mine in small numbers without being seen by the Apache during the winter months. This stone map, it says. The stone map, where is it? Attachments. Cool. This stone map probably belonged to a group of 4 other symbolic cipher stone maps found in the mid-1900s. The stones were intentionally set along the side of a very common trail that led towards Phoenix, so they could be found. The stones carried a cipher message that can only be read by someone who was associated with the person who created the stones, because it contained the whereabouts of a rich gold mine location. The creator of the stones had to be very familiar with the area and the mine in order to have drawn all the details found on the maps. Many doubt that these stones are more than 200 years old. The author writes, who is Ramiro Valdez, I believe that they were made around the year 1820. The Peralta's family discovered the first stone, thinking that the mine was near the place the stone was discovered. I believe they could not read the map and had to rely on an Indian that led them to the mine. There's no way I could decipher the stone maps without the help of a satellite. So I believe an Indian helped them find the location of the mine in Apache territory. No one could gain legal claim to this gold mine, even if they said they claimed it, because the Apache would never let you have it. The Peralta family could not claim it. Jacob Waltz could not claim it. And there was also a man named Beale who claimed to have worked the mine. The first cipher stone carried the word pine, north, Salt Lake, and the abbreviation HOSS, H-O-S-S, which most likely stands for Hills on South Side. These stones were probably created by an American who knew how to create symbolic cipher maps. No kidding. These stories are soon going to be deciphered, exposing information that relates to Virginia, which will tie into Beale's legendary story, defining him as the creator of the symbolic cipher stones, which are currently called the Peralta stones. And why not? If Beale could create 3 cipher stones, or if Beale could create 3 cipher letters, I see no problem with him creating 3 cipher stones. Someone like the museum in Arizona should start thinking about changing the name, because it's not going to be long before someone finds out that the stones do not belong to the Peralta family. And pictures of these stones, please. Here's attachments. Click on one. Boom. A map within a map, it says. Second one. Third one. These are 3 stone maps. And there's like notes written on it, obviously not written on the stone, because they're like paragraphs. A map within a map. Wow, this is a nice feature. Mountain Ridge Hills. Apache Camp. Little Man. I guess that's the name of a mountain ridge. Sierra Mountain Ridge over here. The Rock Horse Ridge. Or the Rock Horse being at this edge of the ridge. I wonder what the Rock Horse looks like. The Rock Horse and the Sierra Mountains. Should I say in the name of those other mountains, whatever they were. Zerthian says, I was wondering what the most prolific or popular alien implant cases might be. Perhaps where it was removed and examined. That's such a good idea, Zerthian. Let's see if we can at least cover 4 topics this show, huh? Or should I put Superstition Mountains? It says Sierra Mountain Ridge. 4 Peaks. Workman Creek. Oh, Rock course, it says. No, rock horse, please. The rock horse. Rocky Mountain horse. No. Rock horse in quotes. And for that, we're going to have to go to Google. I don't believe Brave is that good at Boolean searches. Hello, Eli. Let's go to Google. Leading to the mysterious treasure of the lost Dutchman mine. The stone map also outlines the 3 square miles where you will find the rock horse. So maybe no one knows where the rock horse is either. Find the rock horse. Horse Rock here. Horse Rock, huh? Where is that? Big Rock Horse. The Peraltas are recorded as primary finders, but not the actual makers of the stone maps. This legendary Apache gold mine will never be found west of the military trail, nor in the Superstition Mountains, because it lies east of the east side of the Sierra Ancha mountain range, in a place called Rock Horse. So the name of the place was called Rock Horse. I have said that I can unfold the Schmatzilu map, and that I can lead you to Oliver Levasseur's treasure. I can do these things because I know, and I don't think some of you understand what I'm saying. So I'm going to make a point by describing some of Walt's cipher maps, which are going to the location of the LDM, Lost Dutchman Mine. The most important cipher map has always been a map that Waltz gave to Julia Thomas, the neighbor which tended him in his elder years. I call this map the map within a map, because there are 2 maps stacked one atop the other. I have detailed the map and added more clues to more clearly define the actual location so it can be understood. The stone map carries a primary map surrounded by large iconic rock structures, which I colored in purple. So duplicate this so we can see both at the same time. This is his rock within a map. I mean, it's map within a map. I don't see any purple, though. Okay, no purple. Even though this is called the map within a map. The map also carries starting instructions, colored in yellow. Yeah, here's down here there is. Across the Salt River, near the Nail Creek, go north. Julia Thomas map. Find the rock horse. Yeah, so no one has yet found the rock horse. Interesting is ours look like Y's. Find the rock horse. Small hills stop the water from flowing. Hills on the south side. Weaver's Needle is there. Caves over there. What is this? This is Workman Creek. Workman's Creek Waterfall. Find the rock horse, then at the end of this ridge is the face of the Hidden Rock Canyon location. And there's a Four Peaks location. The Outlook, Cottonwood Stand. Water, maybe. Maybe it dries up at points of the year. Green Tea says maybe the Smithsonian found it and took the items out to study it. Never to be seen again. Boy, I need more coffee. Here's some. We got 5 more minutes on the Dutchman. All you have to do is venture into the location, and you will find all the details found on the secondary map, which will lead you to the gold mine located in the mouth of Rockhorse Canyon. Note the face of the hidden canyon, because you will see it also inscribed in 2 of the 4 other stone maps. Okay, so if it's the mouth of Rockhorse Canyon, is there a Rockhorse Canyon we can find with Google Earth? Rockhorse Canyon. Sierra Mountains are in Arizona, right? Same state, right? Arizona? We'll just put Rockhorse Canyon first. Horseshoe Canyon Ranch, located in Arkansas. How about Rockhorse Canyon? Arizona. How about just the horse itself? Rockhorse, Arizona. It won't delete. Backspace? I won't go back. Try that. Well, you can't edit up here in the search for Google Earth. Very unfriendly. I just got a deja vu. Note the face of the hidden canyon, because you will see it also inscribed in 2 of the 4 other stone maps. You know, you might not get a lot of written credit here on this site for what you discover or find. But what I like the most about TreasureNet is the satisfying exposure of what someone says or finds, which satisfied my treasure hunting needs. So TreasureNet, that's interesting. Now I want to look for New York treasures. Anything near me? The Lost Dutchman. Here's another good theory of a map to look for. Less than 16 miles away from Salt River, Nail Creek area. When you go north, you'll start climbing the Sierra Ancha mountain ridge. Look for the open square with the 2 drop-down corners as inscribed in the middle of the map below. View attachment. You will not be able to find 2 separate climbing ridges facing a northerly direction, as indicated by the compass, anywhere in the surrounding area, or the Superstition Mountains, except in the Sierra Ancha mountain ridge. Search for Rockhorse Spring. Thank you, Gotcha Man. S-E-R-I-N-G. So you can highlight and type. You can do that. By the way, Gotcha, there's an email waiting for you if you haven't checked yet. Rockhorse Spring, Arizona. Let's zoom out. It's right here. Put it in the middle and zoom out. Zoom in. Rockhorse Spring. Ash Spring. Is this right here? This feature. The end of the valley he was talking about, or the end of whatever. Oh, you can see the trees at this level. Rockhorse Spring. Now the name disappears. No, there it is. Oh, thank you, Gotcha Man. To the south of Salt River. Okay, with my apologies to Gotcha. We're at the half hour. Let's go on to the next topic. Because we got 4 of them. Or we got 5 of them. No, we got 4. So we'll stick with those. Next up is Verpine. And that is the unsolved murder and haunting of German Church Road. German Church Road investigation at ghostresearch.org. August 8th, 1992. Location, German Church Road. Good evening, Brooke Birch. Welcome, ma'am. Just east of County Line Road, Burr Ridge, Illinois. German Church Road was named after the Trinity Lutheran Church. It served the original German immigrants in the area. It became known locally in 1957 as the place where the bodies of Barbara and Patricia Grimes were found. The case of the Grimes sisters unaliving is a classic example of the unsolved child unalivings that still plague the Chicagoland area, especially each spring. The victims are seemingly chosen for their fair hair coloring, blue eyes, and very young age. According to some, it would seem that someone perhaps used the girls' unalivings in order to enhance their own psychic powers by stealing the psychic energy of the old Indian Trail, Archer Avenue. Welcome, Kanga Kong. Anybody who can come over to Twitch, please come over to Twitch, unless you really prefer YouTube. YouTube is no longer paying me, so I would appreciate it. By the way, folks, coming up this Wednesday, Zombieland and Centurion. Zombieland, the satirical, hyper-violent zombie comedy, and in Centurion, in the concerns the Romans fighting the Gauls. One cohort gets separated from the rest, and then the Romans have to fight their way out of there. Looks like a good second feature. Coming up this Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Thank you. Barbara and Patricia Grimes, 15 and 13 years of age, respectively, had left home 7:30 p.m. December 26th, 1956 for the Brighton Theater to see an Elvis Presley movie, Love Me Tender. The girls never stayed out past midnight. So Mrs. Loretta Grimes was frantic around 2 in the morning when she telephoned the Brighton Park police station to report that her teenage daughters had not yet returned home. Barbara, 15, was 5 feet tall and weighed 100 pounds. She had brown eyes and hair, a fair complexion, and was last seen wearing a gray tweed shirt. Thank you, Kanga Kong. I'd really appreciate that. Kanga Kong says, when my tablet charges, I'll go to Twitch. I can't get on Twitch on my cell phone. Let's pin that. Thank you, Kanga. Green Tea says, speaking of blue eyes, it's supposed to be a scientific fact that overall, blue-eyed people see better in the dark at night than people with other eye colors. Eli Red should have just switched from YouTube to Twitch. Thank you, Eli. Much appreciated, sir. I'm only paid on Twitch. And Twitch is where I see, where I'm always, I I pay more attention to the Twitch chat than I do the YouTube chat. God forgive me. So if you have much more likelihood of me seeing your message on Twitch. A gray tweed shirt, a yellow blouse, gray 3/4 length coat, gray babushka, white bobby socks, and black ballerina shoes. Patricia, age 13, 2 years younger, was 5 feet 3 inches and 108 pounds. She also had brown eyes with dark brown hair and a fair complexion. She wore blue jeans, a yellow sweater, a white babushka, white bobby socks, and black ballerina slippers. Brooke Birch says, not true for this blue-eyed lady. I have astigmatism in both eyes. Driving at night is not fun. Yeah, you know what rots about astigmatism? Because I have it too. You can't wear contact lenses if you have astigmatism. And for years I thought it was, you have a stigmatism. No, that's not one word. Astigmatism. You have astigmatism. Eli did get a notification on YouTube, but forgot. So Eli will remember next time. Thank you, Eli. To go to Twitch. Green Tea agrees with astigmatism. No fun. Taco 2 with astigmatism. Taco has green hazel eyes. Nice. Very attractive eyes for Taco. The days dragged on with several leads and eyewitnesses, all which led to dead ends. Anyway, lead is LED, isn't it? Lead is LED. A whole bunch of people lately are spelling lead, L-E-A-D, lead. It might be, dictionary.com. Lead, lead. Does lead occur, is lead also in the past tense here? To go before with or to show the way. To conduct, no past tense yet. To influence, to guide, to conduct or bring. To serve, to bring, to take, to command. What about lead? The simple past tense of lead. Yeah, that's what I thought. Leave that there. The days dragged on with several leads and eyewitnesses, all which led to dead ends. The girls only had $2.15 between them. In 56, I wonder what they charged for the movie back then. They had a happy home life. I'm also wondering what the charge of a movie ticket back then. King of Kong says, I was just going to ask if it was a stigmatism or one word. Thanks for clearing that up. I've been wondering for years. Yeah, I have several wonders like that about different words. Green tea has the gene for macular degeneration. She has to eat lots of fish oil and astaxanthin or astaxanthin or something like that. They had a happy home life. There was no reason for them to run away from home. Almost 2 weeks had now passed. Past spelled like the past, not the verb past. And the police were exhausting their leads. They began to circulate flyers about the girls, hoping that someone had seen them to bring this disappearance to a happy ending. However, that was not to be. A month after the disappearances in 1957, a passing motorist, Leonard Prescott of Hinsdale, in Illinois, was driving on German Church Road when he noticed something unusual in a culvert by Devil's Creek, a small tributary of the Des Plaines River. He stopped and looked down in the culvert, and approximately 30 feet above Devil's Creek, he saw what looked like 2 naked bodies. He assumed they were discarded clothing store dummies. Verpeen, thank you for doing the research. A movie ticket costs 63 cents and 57. So let's compare it to what it is today. It's like, what is it today? Like $12? It's like $12 today. So times 2 times 10? That'd be 10? Yeah, 10. Times 20. So if you take away $1.20, so they have about $1 left, times 20. So they had about $20 left. If you take away their their ticket. In some places it's $15, says King of Kong. Taco says it costs $23 in Perth. Shazbot says 63 cents is even the tax on a ticket today. No doubt. KH Matt says, yeah. Sounds pissed. He drove home and told his wife, who insisted they go back to the scene and make sure of what he saw. Together they made the grisly discovery of the Grimes sisters, unceremoniously thrown into a ditch. They immediately called the Bedford Park Police Station. That's that crack group of cops. The searching was over. The bodies were positively identified by the estranged husband of Loretta Grimes. Why didn't Loretta do it? Maybe she asked him to do it. Maybe it was a temporary detente. Brooke Birch says the last time I went to the theater was last year to see Five Nights at Freddy's with my boys, but I don't remember how much I paid. Zerithian likes the better seats on the IMAX. Those new seats wreck my back. I bring a piece of foam so I can put it behind my back so I have something firm, you know. Give me a little lumbar support back there. Yeah, now they have the like living room, almost like living room recliners with cup holders. King Kong asked about the topic we're reading now. That is, she hears it. She just heard it probably. Have a good one, Taco. Count your pennies. Taco going to the bank. Brooke Birch had a dollar cinema for years, shutting down only about 5 years ago. Verpeen says IMAX gives him motion sickness. He stopped and looked down in the culvert. Oh, wait, there's more. Identified by the husband. There were estranged husband. There were some suspects, including Walter Krantz, who had made an anonymous phone call days earlier saying he had seen 2 naked bodies in Santa Fe Park. When questioned by police, he said that psychic powers ran in his family. He had seen them in his mind's eye. Is that where they were found, though? Psychic my butt. Gotcha Man says he just wished that movie snacks did not require a second mortgage on the home. Brooke Birch cannot do 3D movies because of her astigmatism. She can't see if she takes her glasses off. And with them, the 3D is nauseating. Green Tea has always wanted to try IMAX. Zerithian updates us with $12 for a Snickers bar. Holy moly. Brooke Birch says she takes in a big purse and sneaks in the goods, or the goodies. King of Kong says there's a nice theater in Salt Lake City that still only charges $1 for the noon matinee. Then there was Edward Benny Bedwell, who was a Skid Row derelict, and admitted they had made a tour of Skid Row with some girls, but denied that they were the Grimes sisters. Other witnesses did, however, place Bedwell and another man with both of the sisters on West Madison Street under constant questioning. Great, they make him say what they want him to say. Bedwell finally admitted he had been with the sisters one night, but that they had left him and his companion, a man known only as Frank. Betty Bedwell was a native of Paris, Tennessee, and at one time had been associated with Elvis Presley. They went to see an Elvis Presley movie that night, Love Me Tender. Bedwell was 21 at the time of the murders and had only attended the first grade. His parents had divorced in 1937, and his mother came to Chicago in 1940. He worked as a dishwasher, but had held other jobs, including one at Ajax Consolidated in Cicero, Illinois. Records at Ajax indicated he was working there at the times of the abduction of the sisters. Then suddenly he said he was ready to confess to his part in the murders. Yeah, they made him say that. His first meeting of the girls was on January the 7th in Harold's Club on West Madison Street. And they were with this stranger known as Frank. After refusing to serve the girls liquor, and this was back in 1957, they went to another bar. Well, of course. They went to another bar on Madison Street, where they had several drinks. Oh no, the girls too? Next, they frequented yet another tavern at Madison and Loomis, where the bartender told them that they had had too much to drink already. All four of them then went to a D&L restaurant, the D&L restaurant. After another bar stop, the group allegedly paired off in separate rooms at the Crest Hotel. Holy moly. Bedwell claimed to have slept with Patricia throughout the next several days. They spent time at bars in various flop houses. On Sunday, January 13th, the four went to a bar on Madison Street. Frank left the group and returned with a car, in which he proposed a ride, and they all agreed. They drove southwest, stopping at a gas station to use the washroom, and later stopped at a restaurant on Harlem Avenue, where they had hot dogs. They ended up in the Forest Preserve, where they drank more beer. The girls only got denied alcohol at one place, I guess. While attempting to force themselves on the two girls, two separate struggles broke out. Wow. Now, yeah, Bedwell claimed to have hit Patricia harder than she had wanted, and she lost consciousness. Could this have been a confession coerced by the authorities? I don't know. It's pretty imaginative for police. I think they would think of a simpler story than this. Good evening, Big Test, my friend. Welcome, sir. While attempting to force themselves on the two girls, the struggles broke out. Bedwell claimed to have hit Patricia. She lost consciousness. The same apparently happened to Barbara in the front seat. They then decided to get rid of the sisters. They undressed the two and dumped their bodies along the German Church Road near Devil's Creek. They were not sure if the girls were alive or not. The confession was then signed, and Bedwell was held without bail and charged with murder. But then he has that excuse that the night of their murder, he was working at Ajax. The police then launched a search for the mysterious stranger, Frank. After circulating a description, a newspaper reporter found him in the Bridewell, the Chicago City Jail. Sentenced to 30 days because he couldn't pay a $50 fine for drunkenness. His real name was William Cole Willingham. He admitted he had been with the girls and Bedwell on a Skid Row tour, but nothing else had happened. The police thought they had the case all wrapped up. However, later toxicology reports from Walter Camp indicated that the sisters had died within 4 to 6 hours after having finished dinner on December the 28th. When Bedwell took the stand, he testified he'd been forced to sign the confession under duress. He was released on $20,000 bail, fronted by a downstate bondsman. State's attorney Adamowski announced that the charges against Benny Bedwell had been dismissed. Deputies began their investigation again with renewed vigor. Why didn't they put that vigor into not coercing the confession? A few days later, sheriff's deputies found an abandoned shack a half mile from German Church Road. On a crossbeam on the inside, written with lipstick, was help. P&B, help. Patricia and Barbara. Handwriting analysis later determined that neither sister wrote the scrawl. Authorities decided it was most likely a hoax. Today, the case is still considered unsolved, but not unsolvable. Some 39 years after the murders of Schussler Peterson, a suspect was arrested and convicted of the crimes. The murders at German Church Road have a lot of similarities. All the victims were beaten, naked, and unalived elsewhere, and dumped in remote wooded areas. And both the locations have since become haunted. I'm not surprised. Coerced confession, huh? So they said January 7th. His first meeting of the girls was on January 7th, but the girls died December 28th, according to the toxicology reports. They died within 4 to 6 hours after having finished dinner on December 28th. How could they know that? When were the bodies found? January 23rd. Well, how can he tell that? A toxicology report. On the contents of the stomach? If they're found almost a month later, how could you date it like that? I don't believe that toxicologist. Now 54. What else can we look up on the German Church Road? Let's go to Wikipedia. Oh, geez, with a huge type. Geez, crippers. Look at the size of that type. Please. Content, no. Adjust type size, please. That's just insane. You gotta be kidding me. Wikipedia just gone off the deep end with this stuff. Oh, here. It says small text. This is small text. Small, standard, large. What does large look like? This is crazy. How can you even use it? I guess, like that. Width, standard, wide. There they are, Barbara and Patricia. May God rest their souls. They were 2 of 7 children. They were inseparable. Devoted fans of Elvis Presley. This was the 11th time they had seen this film, Love Me Tender. Promised their parents that they'd be home by midnight, or their parent, their mother. They had approximately $250, the equivalent of about $28 in 2024. Barbara, having been instructed to keep 50 cents of the money in the zipper of her wallet, should they want to see the second screening of the film. I don't know. If you've seen it 11 times, I don't think you're staying for the second screening. A school friend of Patricia named Dorothy Weinert would later inform investigators she had been seated behind the girls with her own younger sister. Although Weinert and her sister had left the theater at the intermission of the double feature. Double feature. A double feature is... That's a good movie, Planet of the Vampires. Dorothy saw the Grimes sisters purchase popcorn. They seemed in good spirits. Both sisters did stay to view the second screening. They were supposed to be home at 11:45. When they were not home by midnight, their mother, Loretta, sent their older sister, Teresa, age 17, and their brother, Joey, age 14, to wait by the bus stop. After 3 successive buses had driven by, the siblings returned home. Then she filed missing persons reports with the Chicago Police Department at 2 a.m. One of the largest missing cases in the history of Cook County. There was a citywide search. Hundreds of police officers were involved. Cook County officers were assisted by colleagues from surrounding suburbs. Police conducted door-to-door canvassing throughout Brighton Park, and numerous canals and rivers were dredged. What is dredging? The excavation of material from water environment. Brooke Birch literally saw the movie 8 Seconds with Luke Perry 4 times. A reward of $1,000 was offered, the equivalent of $12,000 in this year. $300,000 people would be questioned, with 2,000 of them subject to serious interrogation. What is interrogation? One individual, Edward Bedwell, asserted he had been coerced into giving a confession. Several teenagers who had been at the Brighton Theater did inform investigators they had seen the sisters conversing with, then entering a car driven by a young man whose physical appearance was similar to that of Elvis Presley. Okay, time for the next topic, people. And that is from Zerithian. And that is the most prolific alien implant case. And is there any evidence from it left? Let's say with evidence. According to search results, Betty Andreassen's alleged alien implant case is one of the most well documented and widely recognized. In 1967, she claimed that aliens implanted a device in her nose during an abduction. Key evidence, her testimony. X-rays and medical records showing a foreign object in her nasal cavity. And a book by Raymond Fowler, The Andreassen Affair, which provides a detailed account. That's evidence? I guess. It's one of the earliest and most credible reports of alien implantation. Extensively researched and written about by ufologists and abduction researchers. The case has contributed to the ongoing debate about the possibility of ET life and their alleged interactions with humans. While other alleged cases have been reported, her case stands out due to its early date, which was what? We didn't get the date yet. Oh, this is one where you can't go to the right. Isn't that special? Where's the date, people? Let's look it up by name. Encyclopedia entry, encyclopedia.com. 1967. Maybe there was a date. The book was written 12 years later in 79. The story begins on the evening of January 25th, 67, in South Ashburnham, Massachusetts. The lights went out in her home. And her 7 children and her parents who were visiting gathered in the kitchen. Green tea, do you still need topics? No, we're all set, green tea. Looks like we're doing like a half hour each. And we have 4. And her 7 children and her parents who were visiting gathered in the kitchen. Her father looked out the back window, attracted by a pink light that was shining. And he saw several little creatures he thought of as Halloween-like entities. This in January. He made a passing note of them but didn't do anything. The next morning all appeared to be back to normal, except the girl had a strange feeling that something out of the ordinary had happened. Over the next few weeks, she had flashbacks of humanoid creatures and an otherworldly environment. But it was not until 10 years later, in 1977, that she underwent hypnosis sessions, and the entire story surfaced. It appears that soon after her father saw the creatures, the entire family was placed in a state of paralysis, and several small greys entered the house and addressed her telepathically. They took her aboard her spaceship. They took her aboard their spaceship, an action requiring Andreassen to pass through the closed door of her house and to float toward the disc-shaped craft. On board the ship, she was run through a series of tests that included probes of her body with a needle. Ouch, that's not good. And the removal of a small object from her head by a needle inserted into her nostril. She next had a visionary experience of traveling into another world, where she met a being whom she, a Christian, saw as God. A voice told her she was the chosen one. The events aboard the ship closed with a final lecture by an entity earlier identified as Quasga, who told her she would forget what had occurred for a while, but that he and his companions loved humanity and had come to help. Quite a few of the reports of alien encounters in the early era of encounter reporting, the aliens are friendly and are trying to help mankind. Not so many these days. A couple alien races are supposed to be helping us. Humans needed to study nature, said Quasga, to rid themselves of their self-destructive tendencies. They left her with a book, which she examined several days later, but again only remembered in 1977. While UFO investigators would study abductions intensely through the 80s, they avoided contactee accounts because they were so commonly denounced as hoaxes or products of delusion. This was until a number of abductee stories began to add contactee-like content. As her full story unraveled, she told of a series of encounters with these saucer entities that went back to her childhood. Following her marriage in '78 to Bob Luca, after settling in Connecticut, her home became the scene of a variety of psychic and unusual occurrences. Luca himself, her husband himself, would undergo hypnosis to tell of a similar set of encounters to those already described by his new bride. New experiences continued until the 90s. The Andreessen affair was integrated into the whole study of abductions through the 80s, a study that continues. Well, where's that evidence? I want to hear about the implant. Physical evidence of alien implant caught on film. How about Betty Andreessen implant? Why did that do that? Try again. Implant. Could there be a link at the encyclopedia? This is the encyclopedia. No, there's no link here, as far as I can see. Implant extraterrestrial, a French result. Neardeath.com for alien abduction. Goodreads about the book. UFO Insight. What about it? Is there any picture of it? We go to images. Let's try that on Google because we need Betty Anderson to occur in the results. And Google does have Boolean search. Images. You'd think that I have a picture of it if it was removed. You would think. Absolutely nothing here, though. And then that's it. Not many photographic results here. And none of an implant. Okay, let's find the, let's just say alien implant. The first search result gave us more than this. This guy's holding something in his hand. I don't think I can get to X, can I? Well, we have this. Skeptic art director Pat Linz thinks alien implant might be welding slag that can easily find its way to feet and hands. Debunky. Let's not do that. Hey, Taoist viewer. Looks like shrapnel, says Shazbot. Let's go back 3 results here. Here. Yeah, what is this? There's an alien implant right there, supposedly. Alien implants in people. Physical characteristics found. Visit. Wow, that's weird. Usually there's a group of pictures. Here we go. Another one. Ouch. It's got a sharp point in it. Looks like a broken, maybe a broken fish hook. And there's another one like that. The one we just saw. Why is it doing that? Click this to make most out of this idea with a free account. Can I just log in here, please? Google. Confirm. There we go. That looks like the first implant. This thing right here. What if that's a common surgical device that might get lost in the body? We're out of Pinterest. Now let's go back to Pinterest. Looks a lot like that. Hey, I'm here already. I'm logged in, buddy. Refresh. Thank you. Alien implants, proof of alien abductions. No comments yet. Here we go. Maybe it's that one we just saw. Removed from a man's spine. Nothing to show scale, though. That looks like the one we just saw. In that X-ray. What if we took that thing alone and searched for it? What it might bring up. Let's capture that on the screenshot. You'll see a flash. Let's go find that. We're going to use this to do a backward search to anything that looks like it. So we got to crop it. Rotate the picture. Crop again. Rotate again. Let's enlarge it. It's now what? Very, very small. Let's say 250. Okay. File save. Then we'll go to Yandex. Do a reverse image search. Images. Search by image. Select. From screenshots. Look at that. We got exact matches. Isn't that interesting? This appears to be closest. No, maybe this one's closest. I'm going to try this one. It's Russian, unfortunately. Look at the spikes on that thing. Russian results from Yandex, huh? Also pointed. Oh, that's very similar. Russian again. I guess that's the source. Let's do a translation. Oh, it's at AliExpress. AliExpress is like an eBay, but it's like all a bunch of cheap stuff in Asia. We translate this page. How do we do that? The title. Grab the title. Got to go get to Google Translate. Google Translate. Russian. Only has one word? No, here we go. China, solid brass, gold-plated spiral metal healing pendulum. It's got... No, there's so many of them that are like that. It's got to have another use, right? Got to have some mechanical use somewhere. How about this one, the first one we checked out? Go to... Now that's definitely not a... Well, it's got spikes in the middle. Let's go there, try that one out. This one at a fishing site. We're getting closer now. Yes, translate the whole page. And nothing happens. Copy title. Oh, wait, here we go. Feeding feeder. A feeding feeder. Bait feeder, maybe? Where's that dictionary? Don't tell me you lost the dictionary. There it is. Bait feeder? Bait feeder. How about just internet search? My papa would probably know what this is. Bait feeder. Bait holder with a spring. Bait holder, spring fishing feeder. So that's the thing at Amazon. And they look like that. Carp bait, spring fishing feeder. Maybe he ate a fish with this inside. Where was it in his body? That picture. We had that picture earlier. Where'd that picture go? There it is. You know, implants in people. Where's that in the body? Is it source? At exonews.org. Allegedly removed from a man's spine. Okay, so that's his spine. Or it could have been in his stomach, right? Yeah, someone followed someone swallowed one of those things, I think. Gotchaman asks Google Translate. Gotchaman says, maybe. I know a heavy-set woman had surgery to remove a tumor, and they found it was a pork chop bone she had sat on. Kanga Kong asked Bill, dear, what are those metal winding things? I was in the next room. This is, we started the search here, Kanga. This was defined as an alien implant. And then we did a reverse search on the image and found a fishing tackle. Fishing tackle is plural? What's the singular of fishing tackle? Tackle. Equipment, apparatus, or gear. A mechanism or apparatus, so it can be fishing tackle. Okay. It's both the singular and the plural, evidently. They are so uniform, says Kenga. Yeah, no doubt. Green Tea says, I was fishing with someone in a canoe years ago. Drinking was involved. The guy cast and hooked me in the neck. Finally, we got it out. That finally sounds painful. Poor green tea. K.H. Matt mentions toe implants. Gotcha Man asks green tea, where did you bury the body of your fishing partner? Quickly, before we move on to the next, we have 4 minutes left in this topic. I wonder if K.H. Matt mentioned toe implants. I want to see if we can find one of them. Green tea says more drinking was involved for hook removal. Okay, so toe implants. And we want, of course, alien toe implant. Whole book on alien implants. Here's the famous mermaid from Barnum and Bailey. Which is like part monkey, part fish. Let's open image, a new tab. Unique examples of native manufacture, voyages of discovery. I imagine it's the Barnum Bailey one, but there are probably several of them. So monkey head, monkey hand, and attached to a fish. Very interesting. At least I think that was the Barnum and Bailey. Barnum and Bailey mermaid. A common search also brings this up. Well, this was supposed to be the Fiji mermaid from Barnum. A very large picture, very good, very detailed. Fish and monkey. Although this, who knows if the way they wrapped it, whether it's a fish or just straw stuffed into burlap. Here's the real size of the photo. Next up, the final research of the evening. From Zurithian, or did we get that already? Yeah, we got from Ono It's Taco, who was unfortunately not here to see it. To it. What happened to Charles Whittlesley? A tragedy after the unknown funeral. Charles Whittlesley. Arlington National Cemetery site. .mil. Thank you for visiting. I accept. What am I accepting? By accessing our site, you're consenting to terms and conditions found in our user acceptance policy, which will pass. Take a pass on that. I agree to cookies. A tragedy after the unknown funeral. Charles Woolsey and the costs of heroism. On November 24th, 1921, 2 weeks after he and other Medal of Honor recipients participated in the funeral of the unknown soldier, Colonel Charles Whittlesey boarded the SS Taloa en route to Havana, Cuba from New York. At the beginning of the voyage, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Two days later, Whittlesey dined at the captain's table and reportedly joined in a lively discourse on football, which may be soccer. No, it was just football. Manifesting an active interest in the Army and Navy football game being played that day in November. Excuse me. After dinner, he spent several hours in the smoking lounge, chatting with a fellow passenger. We recall nothing unusual in the colonel's appearance. Around 11:30 p.m., Whittlesey announced that he was retiring for the night. He was never seen or heard from again. In his stateroom, crew members found a letter to the captain requesting that his belongings be thrown into the sea. Well, that's a self-harm on a living note, right? They also found 9 letters addressed to relatives and friends. The letters had not been written on the ship's stationery, suggesting that the colonel had composed them prior to the trip. I'd like to read those letters. Let's do that next. After an investigation, the U.S. consul in Havana determined Charles had drowned at sea by own intent, with no remains found. He was born in 1884 in Wisconsin, the eldest of 4 boys. He attended Williams College and Harvard Law. After his graduation, he moved to New York City to practice law. New York City? He was, in the words of Lieutenant Charles McKee, who served under him, an affable and extremely reticent and somewhat professional sort, who, despite his introversion, had a sense of humor as keen as a razor blade. By some accounts, he was a left-leaning idealist who had opposed the U.S. entrance into World War I until the sinking of the Lusitania in 1915. Nonetheless, the shy, professorial young lawyer signed up for the U.S. Army Reserve officer training. And 2 years later, in 17, he shipped out to France as a captain of an infantry regiment, 77th Division, nicknamed the Metropolitan Division or the Times Square Division. The 77th consisted mostly of working-class New Yorkers and reflected the city's ethnic diversity. To a certain extent. I believe black soldiers had like a separate division back in World War I. I believe that. So here, I mean, they probably mean non-colored, probably, in the vernacular of the time. It's soldiers who wore Statue of Liberty shoulder patches. Not that the black soldiers were not among the highest decorated in the First World War, including immigrants from Italy, Ireland, Eastern Europe, and China. Nearly a quarter were Jewish. They were also inexperienced, entering combat soon after basic training. In late September of 1918, the 308th Regiment, under Whittlesey's command, was ordered to participate in the Meuse-Argonne Offensive, the largest and costliest U.S. campaign of World War I, resulting in more than 120,000. That's 1/8 of a million, folks, American casualties. On October the 2nd, while advancing through a ravine in the Argonne Forest, the 308th came under attack by German snipers on the steep bluffs nearby. Surrounded, Whittlesey and his men were cut off from communications and supplies. For nearly 6 days, with little food and water, they endured a constant barrage of German firepower, as well as friendly fire from the Allies in the air squadrons. Following his orders to advance at all costs, Whittlesey ordered his men to hold their position. He even removed white sheets that had been placed on the ground to signal the 308's location to aircraft, lest they be mistaken for white flags of surrender. When the Lost Battalion, as it came to be known, was finally rescued, only 194 of the regiment's original 550 members had survived unwounded. They don't really say how many died there. According to Army investigation, his leadership and perseverance had prevented even heavier casualties. For his heroism during the ordeal in the ravine, the Army awarded him the Medal of Honor and promoted him to Late Colonel, or Lieutenant Colonel. He returned to the U.S. as a war hero. However, the introverted young officer appeared deeply uncomfortable with his fame. He declined numerous requests for public appearances and refused to discuss his personal experience. When he did speak publicly at commemorative events and fundraisers for veterans organizations, he focused on honoring enlisted men and advocating for peace. Meanwhile, he tried to help fellow veterans by visiting the wounded in New York hospitals, chairing the local Red Cross roll call, and attending numerous funerals. In all likelihood, Whittlesey probably suffered from what would now be diagnosed as PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. He was, according to his friends, haunted by nightmares and memories of the soldiers who had died under his command. The grief of others may have magnified his own. At funerals and hospitals, soldiers' families looked to Whittlesey, the war hero, for consolation, and widows often beseeched him for financial help. Indeed, at his own memorial service, a family friend, Judge Charles Hibbard, stated in his eulogy that such emotional labor on top of the trauma he had experienced in war became, quote, a never-ceasing and most exhausting drain upon him. Thus, when he accepted the invitation to participate in the unknown soldier's funeral, where he was headed by boat, Whittlesey, recently promoted to full bird colonel in the reserve division of the 108th, was by all accounts in poor health, both mentally and physically. Excuse me. In addition to PTSD, the war had left him with a chronic cough, possibly the result of gas-related tuberculosis. Friends and relatives described him as appearing sickly and moody, and participating in the unknown soldier's funeral seemed only to worsen his spirits. When he booked that passage on the Taloa, he apparently told no one except his housekeeper, informing her only that he would be away for a few days. His self-harm unaliving made national headlines. Some 3K mourners attended his memorial service, held in Pittsfield, Mass. In his eulogy, Judge Hibbard focused not on his battlefield heroism, but on his empathy and sensitivity. Pardon me. Qualities that enabled him to comfort others who had lost loved ones in the war. Well, he was able to give comfort. That's good. That's a good thing. Yet also caused him unendurable anguish. Hibbard stated he had plumbed the depths of tragic suffering. When he had survived the Lost Battalion's ordeal, he still died as a casualty of war. Quote, wounded in action, I, sorely wounded in heart and soul, and now most truly, missing in action, as Hibbard said in his eulogy. Excuse me. His tragic story prompts a more expensive understanding of the losses that the Tomb of the Unknown commemorates. In 1999, after the exhumation and identification of the Vietnam War unknown, yeah, with a double DNA, I guess, huh? Familial DNA. They were able to exhume and identify the man buried from the Vietnam War as the unknown soldier. That's amazing. May God rest his soul. The tomb was rededicated to honor missing as well as unidentified service members from the Vietnam War. It is now understood to honor missing service members from all U.S. wars. The Tomb of the Unknown, that is. Whittlesley, too, remains missing, in the sense that his body was never recovered from sea. It looks like we actually have time for another suggestion. Let's see if someone else came up with something up here earlier. Taco says, if that's a mermaid, then I'm the Queen of England. Green Tea asks, drowned by own intent. Right. Ancient carvings of lizard-headed people. Let's do that one from Green Tea. Thanks, guys. How long has that been? I'm so sorry. Ancient carvings of lizard-headed figures. Mythological and ET origins. Some sources suggest these carvings may be connected to non-human intelligence visiting and breeding. With primordial humans, as described in ancient cultural and religious records. Then you have the temple carvings of the Varadaraja Perumal Temple in Kanchipuram, India, where there are two lizard-headed carvings with a legend behind them. According to the legend, two disciples of sage Gautama once filled his holy pot with water, and a lizard intervened, leading to the creation of the carvings. And then, of course, you have LA's underground catacombs. Alleged underground catacombs in Los Angeles, featuring lizard-headed people. Follow up with ancient carvings. What archaeological sites feature similar reptilian-human hybrid depictions across ancient cultures? That looks good. Welcome, Joseph Johnson. Reptilian humanoid. List of reptilian humanoids. Reptilian theory. Human-animal hybrids. Let's do this one. 7,000 years ago, ancient people living in Mesopotamia worshipped lizard-like beings. I wish they give more of a context to this head. That's supposed to be lizard-like, I guess. There are certain pre-Sumerian artifacts recovered from the archaeological site of Alubad that offer incredible details about early cultures inhabiting Mesopotamia. At Alubad, or Alubaid. I'm going to say Alubad. Archaeological missions have excavated a number of ancient artifacts. Including statues. Pardon. Joseph Johnson says his mail route has an Indian temple. Shazbot does not believe. Shame on you, Shazbot. These artifacts date back to the so-called Ubad period of Mesopotamia. That gives a little more detail of the head. Oh, it's only a head. Definitely lizard-like here. That looks like an iguana head. The Ubad period lasted from 6,500 years before Christ to 3,800 years before Christ. Wow, that's a long lot. That's 3,000 years. Nearly. 300 years less than 3,000. And its name derives from Tel Alubad, where the earliest large excavation of the Ubad period material was conducted. The Ubad culture dates between 4K and 5500K BC. And just as with the ancient Sumerians, The origin of the Ubad people remains a mystery to archaeologists. So they were pre-Sumerian? We do know, however, that it was the Ubad culture which started building large unwalled settlements, mainly characterized by their multi-room, rectangular mud houses. This culture is also credited with the appearance of the first temples for the public in Mesopotamia, with a growth of a two-tier settlement hierarchy of centralized large sites of more than 10 acres, surrounded by smaller village sites of less than 1 acre. It's actually a hectare. Archaeologists firmly agree that it was during the Ubad period when society moved toward urbanization. Their culture built incredible T-shaped houses, open courtyards, paved streets, and used food processing tools. Well, food processing tools have been around since the Denisovans, right? There's other peoples too. I forget their name right now. Oh, I see now why that slant-eyed thing is supposed to be a lizard. Because that looks lizard-like. And that has slant eyes. Female and male lizard objects alike. I wonder what the lizard represented to them. Is that a lizard mother? Is that a child she's holding? Open a new tab, please. Well, they both have these epaulets on their shoulders. That's one of her arms right there. Yeah, it looks like a suckling child or a suckling lizard. There's the child's 2 hands right there. It looks like a suckling child. With this arm here and probably the other arm supporting the child. Maybe that's the hand right there. Maybe. Check out the fashion. Just like in recent decades, the wide-shouldered fashion for women's attire. They wore fancy hats. Very brief skirts. Or, yeah, that looks like they would be skirts, right? Of a sort. Interesting. Kegakong says, those are called nagas. Green Tea confirms that one of the figures is breastfeeding. Quickly, large unwalled settlements developed into towns. Temples were erected, and people changed their way of life. New technologies emerged, and history began to be written down like never before. Kenga Kong clarifies, Nagas are reptilian entities. Thank you, Kenga. Today, thousands of years after the first ancient cities came to life in ancient Mesopotamia, archaeologists are putting together an ancient puzzle which tells an amazing story. Let's look up Nagas real quick from Kenga Kong. We go here. Refresh, not refresh. Home. Nagas. How about Naga? Nagas are from Indian lore, Kanga tells us. They're also part of Asian lore. The Indian culture is a lot about Naga. Oh, you mean East Indian? Okay. So that would be correct, as that is in Asia. India is a part of Asia, right? At Britannica.com, Naga oranges, origins, symbolism, and significance. Naga, in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, is a member of a class of mythical semi-divine beings, half human, half cobra. They are a strong, handsome species who could assume either wholly human or wholly serpentine form, and are potentially dangerous, but often beneficial to humans. They live in an underground kingdom called Nagaloka, or Patalaloka, which is filled with resplendent palaces and beautifully ornamented with precious gems. It is not a part of Asia, says Kenga Kong. Thank you, Kenga. On that correction, let's see you guys on Tuesday, huh? 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And then on Wednesday, don't forget, we're going to have a double feature of, and I can't see it, so I have to remember from memory here. It's the one with double tap at the first one. Zombieland, and then Centurion. Zombieland being the bloody, comical, zombie-oriented survival tale set in an amusement park, I guess you would say. And Centurion about a cohort of Roman soldiers separated from their legion, who have to fight their way out of a Gaul-infested woodland. Kenga Kong is half Indian on her father's side. That's why she knows this stuff. We'll see you Tuesday and Wednesday. Until then, may God bless and protect you all.